Hi, I'm Jen Clymer, and thank you so much for joining us again for Conversations with the Artist. We have returning champion Ben Proudfoot with us and Kris Bowers. Hi, guys. It's so good to see you.
Hi, Jen. Great to see you.
Yeah, good to see you.
Of course, returning champions, I mean, Queen of Basketball took home the award, and we were all really excited for you. Um, But that is not why we are here. And we're also not here to talk about the fact that Kris has been busy on such amazing films like The Color Purple. That's not why we're here. We're here to talk about this beautiful short documentary that you guys co-directed together called The Last Repair Shop.
Yes, we are, and we're so excited that the film was nominated for the Best Short Documentary Film category this year, and it's just been so exciting to see the excitement around Los Angeles. This is an LA story, so we're excited to talk about it.
And you tie in so many different parts of Los Angeles very subtly. The last scene in this great documentary takes place in a recording studio. And it's this beautiful orchestra, and you start to see in the lower thirds in the titles all of these musicians are from different LAUSD schools. Um, is that how this started? Because this group already existed, or how did this idea take hold for you guys?
Yeah. Well, the story starts a little over 4 years ago, and our producer, Jeremy Lambert, brought us an article. And the article talked about LAUSD's musical instrument repair shop and how this small group of people, this handful of people, repaired over 80,000 instruments for public school students in LA, and how LA was the last major city in the entire United States that provided free and freely repaired instruments to its students. And it just blew me away. I couldn't believe that this sort of North Pole of musical instruments existed. And it made me really proud to be an Angelino, that our city was the last in the country to provide free instruments to public school students. So I immediately went to Kris, who I knew was an LAUSD grad, and I said, "Have you ever heard of this shop?" And he said, "No." And that's when the partnership began, and we worked on this film, which profiles 4 of those master craftspeople and 4 of the students who are the beneficiaries of this amazing repair shop. That's what became the film. And the end credits, like you mentioned, which is to an amazing suite that Kris wrote, is never happened before. Multi-generational orchestra of musicians, all of them LAUSD alumni, from 9 years old to 75 years old, all playing at the Eastwood stage on the Warner Brothers lot. Which was just an incredible thing to witness in person, and I think in the film too.
And you give the first word and the last note to this beautiful violinist. Tell me a little bit about her and how your process was for choosing these students.
Yeah, so that's Portia, and she's such a star. We first we reached out to a mentor of mine named Tony White, who does a lot of all-city LAUSD bands and music programs, and also reached out to Colburn, which is an amazing music school here in LA that I also went to when I was a kid, and asked them to put forward, the best and brightest students they could find, and reach out to schools and see who they might be able to put forward. And we set up a day of Zoom calls with about 12 of those students. And I'm pretty sure Portia was the first one. And immediately Ben and I were, texting each other saying how excited we were about her because of her energy and her warmth and her spirit, and really the fact that she had this pure, honest love for her instrument and for music. And that's felt in the first frame of the film, just that for her at 9 or 10 years old, whenever we first met her and interviewed her, to be able to speak with such clarity about why it's important for her to have this instrument. She even says, "Don't jinx me," with the idea of it being broken, and also is it's it was a reminder in interviewing those kids that even Portia at 9 or 10 is dealing with family issues where you know, her family had a lot of health issues going on, and so a lot of times the violin became this safe space for her. And so how she spoke about her instrument and how she spoke about music really felt like it was the perfect way to set the table for everybody, talking about how much music helped prepare them and keep them safe in difficult times.
Which is an amazing theme that I think I assume you guys discovered after you started talking to people, that those people who had their hands in the mix fixing those instruments had moments where they were broken themselves, and that understanding that music is healing, but those who are fixing the literal instruments of music also feel the responsibility for healing themselves and healing the people that they hand those repaired instruments back to. Was that something you went in knowing, or was that a discovery?
I think that was probably our best discovery. You know, I think both of us were interested in just the visual craftsmanship of, you know, what does this shop look like that fixes, you know, 100,000 instruments a year, and, you know, how do they do that, and how do you fix a broken violin, and how do you understand how a saxophone works or whatever. That was our initial interest, is the visual investigation of how do they do it. Once we talked to the repair people and they shared their stories of how they were individually broken and then repaired by music, it was extremely emotional, extremely powerful. And it probably reminded both of us of times in our lives where art healed us, you know, whether it was music or movies or whatever. And that became an immediate sort of metaphor to build the movie around, and something that I think everybody can relate to, because we all have broken, you know, relationships or broken promises or what have you. And their stories and their optimism and attitude that everything is worth attempting to repair was extremely inspiring to us, and we felt was worthy of a film. And that became kind of the engine and fuel that created The Last Repair Shop, and the resulting movement that has come since releasing the film. We have gotten thousands, truly thousands of messages, emails, comments, you know, reviews, articles, etc., people just saying, yes, this is a reflection of my experience, and that is extremely worthwhile.
So you profile also the supervisor who started off as just working in piano repairs, and I stayed strong throughout this entire film. I've been watching a bunch of these films, and sometimes they can emotionally break you down, sometimes they lift you spiritually in these incredible ways, and certainly music always does that for me. And then you, in that ending sequence, you see the supervisor at the piano and he looks up at Ken. You guys were doing that. I was weeping. It was so beautiful.
I cried too. You don't have to feel bad.
Yeah,
all right, so Kris, tell us a little bit about Ken, the decision to bring Steve and Ken together, how important that was to the film. Was that something the two of you collectively were like, this has got to happen? Like, how?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a team effort across the board, just because that whole ending sequence was put together rather quickly, and wasn't something that was planned in the filmmaking. Like, we didn't actually we submitted the film to Telluride with just a regular end credits, you know, credit crawl. And after we got in, Ben and I talked about needing to have this huge celebratory ending with this orchestra. And it was, I don't know, Ben, it was maybe what, like a week before. It's like pretty close to the
very close before the deadline for the DCP. We had about a week to put that ending together.
And yeah, and Ben was like, we have to bring Ken, and you know, reached out to the team at Breakwater and made it happen. And luckily they were willing and able and available, and it was a surprise to Steve. And so, that was such a sweet moment, to see Steve be surprised by that, and for them to have that reconnection and reunion after such a long time. And so I think that Steve's face, I think, was definitely worth that whole stunt, but it definitely has a huge impact in the film as well. Yeah.
Okay, so for anybody who maybe didn't have the chance to watch the film yet, give us a little context between Steve and Ken.
Yep. So Steve, when he moved to the States, or was a refugee from Azerbaijan during the Armenian genocide, he basically arrived here without a job and without much direction, essentially, and ended up with Ken and Veronica as a host family, essentially. And they were trying to figure out how to translate what Ken did for work. And eventually they found this, looked at this Norman Rockwell painting that actually I think Ken gave to Steve, that's of a piano tuner. And Ken, they finally put together that Ken was a piano tuner, and Steve was so excited because there was a moment in his childhood where he remembers seeing a piano tuner come into his school and tune pianos. And that was a moment where he always felt in awe of what that must take and what that must be. And so it was a moment where not only did he feel this connection to his younger self, but also music being able to bring this life back to him in a moment where he felt relatively lost.
Yeah, that story arc is amazing and pays off beautifully. Okay, let's shift gears a little bit and talk about you two continuing to collaborate, because first Ben told your story, and now the two of you together are telling the musical story of LAUSD, and hopefully inspiring other programs to kick back up again, because this is so important. The arts in schools, it's so important. Are you collaborating together to continue pushing this mission, or is there another film in the works? What's going on?
I mean, Kris and I found obviously a kindred spirit in each other. And we found, I think that not only were we really successful at helping each other come up with an idea that individually neither of us could achieve, but we also had a lot of fun doing it and had a lot of laughs doing it and became, close friends. And I think what we've been really good at doing is finding stories that deserve the spotlight. Both Kris and I are at the beginning of our career. We've been really lucky to have some success, and we want to use that, and we want to use the filmmaking resources that we have to lift the stories of others up. And with our first collaboration with the Concerto as a Conversation, that was really oriented around Kris's grandfather, not only individually, but as a representation of all those who were part of the Great Migration. And with this, we are paying tribute to those who have dedicated their lives to music education. And we want to use what we're good at, making films and telling stories through films, to help them have their moment, and help them have their day in the sun, and hopefully enshrine that repair shop so that it never gets closed. It would be so unpopular now to close that repair shop. That it's extremely worthwhile to us. And I think so long as things that kind of fit into that category come up between us, we'll continue to collaborate and make stuff together, because it's just too fun, and it works too well not to, but I don't know, Kris, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. Anytime that either of us is thinking about how to do something that involves music and filmmaking, we immediately reach out to each other, and I definitely think that will automatically lead to more collaboration, just because there's so many times where we talk about something and already we're like, oh, that seems like something maybe we should do together. And answering your question about, what we're doing outside of the film for the district, the thing that's been really amazing about what this film has been able to do is we've been able to take the repair people to the school board meetings and to city hall and talk to council men and women there. And, because of that exposure, the city officials have really acknowledged that they want to do whatever they can to make sure this place never closes and that it's enshrined and kept safe. And in addition to that, we're going to do, some sort of capital campaign as well with the district. And the other exciting thing is that Steve has received calls from other cities as well that are trying to figure out how they might be able to bring it back. So, for us, this definitely goes beyond the film and goes beyond, this season of celebrating the film. Even after the Oscars, whatever happens, I think for both of us, it's really important that we continue championing the importance of music education here and around the country.
It's fantastic. Of course, if you ever need another venue in order to play that piece that was played at the end of the movie, I know of a stage in Woodland Hills that would welcome all of you and all of those beautifully repaired instruments to come and perform.
Oh, thank you.
We would love that.
Yeah. That'd be awesome.
Fantastic. So individually, what's next for you, Ben?
Well, I need to get a haircut.
Kris is one up on you on that already.
Kris is one up on me, but my hair is a little unwieldy. We have the nominees luncheon on Monday, and I need to get a haircut. Well, we honestly we're very focused on the last repair shop. It wasn't enough just to make the movie. We have to see how we can best use that to help music in Los Angeles. I mean, it's a rare opportunity for us to focus everybody's attention on this issue. So we're doing everything we can. We're planning a big event at the end of February to bring out a bunch of people to Hollywood High School to celebrate both the film and also to launch a capital campaign like Kris mentioned.
Yeah.
So we're very focused on that, but I'm also making 7 or 8 other short documentaries on the side about all kinds of different things. So it's a busy time, but the most important thing I think is the haircut. Yeah.
Sure. So Kris, knowing that the haircut is already accomplished for you, what's next? Are you excited about Monday?
Yeah, super excited about Monday, especially because we're gonna bring Portia, so that's gonna be awesome for her to be there and
that'll be amazing.
Meet some fun people. Other than like Ben said, really trying to do whatever we can to get as much attention around this issue as possible. As a composer, I'm working on an animated film right now for DreamWorks that will come out later this year. And then just a couple of other like personal projects that I'm trying to figure out that I've also been picking Ben's brain on. And so, yeah, hopefully those things will come to fruition sometime soon too.
I'm so excited for you guys. This is a well-deserved recognition for an amazing film, and the ripple effects that this film has already made are really impressive. I'm hoping Steve answers all of those calls and cities around the country start investing in the arts and in repair shops like this. So good.
100%.
That's our dream too. Thanks, Jen.
Thank you. Thanks so much for being with us.
Yeah, sending our love to everybody there.
Thank you.